thanks for joining us once again. Pretty excited at the moment. I've got my axles, my 31 spline axles in stock. Been waiting a little while for these, no fault of anybody's. So yeah, pretty excited to have them now so that I can finish off my diff, which is, like I was saying, my 3.7 31 spline full spool. This is going into my blue Charger just here. So yeah, I just thought I'd do a video on the actual finishing off of the diff, the installing of it in the car. Also go through some tyre sizes with you guys. You always sort of, well, not you always, some people ask me, you know, what size tyre will fit this, that and the other, and I want to put some 8 inches on there and this, that and the other. So I'll go through with how much I've taken off of this from standard to my overall width that we've achieved, and so forth. So yeah, give you guys an idea of you know, how much has been taken off of it to fit the rim and tyre that you guys are sort of requesting to fit, which is generally like an 8 to 8.5 inch wide wheel with you know, roughly a 3 inch backspace, 3 to 3.5 inch backspace. So we've gone with a weld drag light with a 8 inch rim with a 3.5 inch backspace. So that's basically what this diff's been built to, so we'll go into that a little bit further. Some people have also been asking regarding axles, you know, like you know, if you're waiting on the curries, why don't you just get something else? Well, I'll go into that now and show you sort of why I use the curries and why I wouldn't put some of the other axles that are on the market. No offence meant to anybody. This is not slagging anybody or anything like that. This is just me. This is the reasons why I use what I use, and the reasons why, if it's not good enough for my car, well, I certainly wouldn't put it in yours. So yeah, we'll just go into that with in a little bit more detail in a minute. Alrighty, as I was saying, I'll sort of go into, you know, these are my curry axles that will be going into the blue Charger here. So yeah, so the reason why I like using these axles opposed to some of the other stuff that I'll be honest with you, I could probably access within a week or so, probably even less than that, maybe a couple of days here in Adelaide. But these are the reasons why I choose the curry axles. Okay. One of them is that these are custom cut to length and then splined here in Adelaide. These are bought in from America as a blank billet, and then they are machined here in Adelaide. These are also a set of axles that are done here in Adelaide, I believe, or I can get something similar to this here in Adelaide. These are what they call, well, we actually call them Hong Kong Phooey axles, because they are a doctor length axle. As you can see, they've got a mighty long spline. These would generally come with about 150mm long spline on them. This one here, as you can see, I've measured it, written on here, it's actually 130mm long, that spline. This one here is actually 90mm long. Now we'll run a tape over our nice curries here, and you know, it's less than 60mm, the actual spline. In my opinion, some people probably argue the point. I believe that this extra length is a weak point. My opinion, I have seen these break. Also, I have seen these docked off in the in a bandsaw, a bandsaw with shot, and you pair these off like 20-cent pieces. We did that with an axle that was actually snapped here at the base of the spline, or actually no, it was actually broken on the spline, and not just a snap, but like an actual break. Like, yeah, really unusual. Now, once again, you know, my buddy, he paired these off in 20-cent pieces. He ordered a set of these axles, a little bit long, knowingly that he wasn't 100% sure, as he was still doing a little bit, you know, but he was still actually mucking around, and he ordered them just a little bit longer, knowingly that he had to take off maybe 5 or 10mm off of these, which is quite acceptable with this as well. Now, he put this into the bandsaw, which he had just done some test cuts with one of these splines and pairing off the 20-cent pieces. As soon as his saw blade hit this, it took 5 teeth of the saw blade off. and didn't even mark these axles. So once again, very strong billet. Some other characteristics, let me just pan around. You know, the finish on these are a lot nicer compared to this. These axles here were actually donated to me by a fella who these were actually, believe it or not, the second attempt, I believe, and he just wasn't happy with them because I'll give you the hot tip. His Centura is probably and I will say this, it is the best Centura in Australia regarding quality and the build of it. So yeah, once again, you know, I wouldn't put these in my car, and I'm not slagging anybody or anything. You know, plenty of people do, but you know, this is what I buy for myself and for my customers. So that's sort of the reasoning behind that. You know, and he told me that when you measure some of these holes, they're not even round. So yeah, once again, pretty poor quality. I don't know where he got them from, but once again, they were the second attempt, and you know, that was sort of. I think he ended up honestly getting a set of these. So once again, I'm not slagging anybody. I'm not having a go at anybody, but this is just my preference in choice. The reason I go down this path and using the billet axles, like I said, I could get a set of these done for these that I've been waiting for within a week, but I wouldn't put them in my car, so I'm not going to put them in yours, you know. So yeah, that's enough with the axles. Getting on to the TA, well, getting on to my diff. Once again, we've got the nice TA backing plate to go on there. Set of bearings for our axles and our 31 spline full spool and some 3/7 gears in there. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Once again, the diff has been shortened. My buddy does a fantastic job has done on mine and does on all of my diffs that I do for customers. So yeah, once again, I thank him for his work. Once again, Guru, thanks again. So yeah, got some plates there hanging that I just painted this morning, ready. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of cleaning up to do before I can actually access my car. So yeah, I guess I'll just get stuck into one thing at a time, finishing off the diff itself and getting that all together. Axles in there, get some backing plates on there, some drums, and pretty much get it ready so that I can get it into the car. So yeah, we'll pause for there, and I'll get this finished off, and we'll continue on with things. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the axles in, backing plate on. Have to say I really like these things. Had to drill out the drums to accommodate the 1/2-inch studs, so we've done all that. Once again, we'll just pan around this sucker. I've got some oil in there at the moment. I'll get some more oil in there in a minute and finish topping that up. Just pan around this sucker. Excuse my bench mule. Got the 31 spline curry axles in there. Happy to build something for myself for a change. Always doing customer stuff. So yeah, really happy with that. Alrighty, I'll just go through a couple of things to how we're going to achieve getting the car low. Bought these through Paul Norris at Elco Performance. For what he sells these things for, you could not make them. These are your standard style. These are the front shackles of the springs, sorry. For the leaf springs, they're the front shackles that go up under there. You can see a little bit that's not painted for the springs, the front springs to hang off. So basically speaking, that's how they are standard, altered to the car naturally, and the spring is located down here at the base of the shackle. With these ones, naturally, as you can see, you have 3 adjustment points. Now these shackles here, I tell you, they are for, like I said, for what you pay for them, you could not make them. Awesome value through Elco Performance once again. These will lower your car 2 inches easily, if not more. I've done them before. What we used to do with these back in a long time ago. Jason Maros and myself with my old black car, basically speaking, he turned them upside down, so he elongated the holes in the chassis for these to bolt up to, and we just reversed the shackle as such. But now you can buy all these sorts of setups. This one's a small bolt hole to accommodate the 6-cylinder spring, and you can also get a large bolt hole which will accommodate your V8 spring as such. Now, doing this, yes, it will change your pinion angle. So what we use is excuse it because it's quite dirty at the moment, I need to clean it and paint it. This is a truck aligning wedge, I believe they call them. You can buy these through a very good, well, either a truck service place or a very good spring company that deal in leaf springs and so forth. Now, what we do is, as you can imagine, yes, this pinion angle will go up at the front as you lower the car with the shackles. So yes, these get bolted in between the diff and the mounting plate for the springs. So that actually changes the pinion angle back to pretty much where it should be. Once again, ran this in my old black car for many years, never had an issue. So not saying that's the end all of end all, but that's what I'm doing to achieve this car getting down on the ground and lowered to the point that I would like. So once again, got a bit of work ahead of me, clearing all this crap out of the way. So once I've got all this cleaned up, I'll get back on the camera again and show you guys once I'll get this down onto the ground. Got a few things to do, get it down on the ground with my engine crane, and then get stuck into putting into the car. So yeah, we'll catch up soon once I've got this thing on the ground. Alrighty, so yeah, pretty happy with that. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to my lovely wife for always being there to give me a hand. Once again, she's given me a hand to get this in the car. Can't do it without you, babe. Thanks again. As you can see, we've got the, where are we? We've got the adjustable front shackles in the front there. Not sure how good it's going to pick this up, but I'm not sure. I think you might be able to see the truck aligning wedges. We'll go around the back there. You can see the truck aligning wedges in there. And all sitting quite nicely actually. Once that gets on the ground, should be pretty happy with that. I may in fact need to maybe put another aligning wedge in there. We'll just have to wait and see once we get this on the ground as to how it looks. Just pan around the back of the car here. Yeah, really happy with that. I've got some 1/2-inch fuel line in there that I've already pre-ran, so I need to sort out what I'm going to be doing with that as I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, pretty happy with all that, coming along nicely. So yeah, once again, we'll get some tyres on there now and see how it looks. Once again, I've got some 1/2-inch fuel line in there that I ran. I was going a bit of boy racer with this car, running in turn, like this is how I ran my old race car, with a fuel cell in the boot, Mallory fuel system, this, that and the other. So all of this stuff is basically getting taken out now and putting in the standard fuel tank, which I've got over here. Once again, this is the diff that's going to be going in it. This one here will be going in it when we do our Regency, or as you guys are probably familiar with, a numbers check or whatever. So hence this one hasn't got any brake lines or anything like that on it at the moment. So this is basically just in here just to finish setting the car up as, you know, how do you say it, how it will finally be run on the street, but then I'll be taking this diff out again and putting in the one over there. So yeah, once again, really happy with that. Alright, we'll get into some tyre size. These are the tyres that I'm going to be running on it. A lot of people ask me this question, you know, like, what can I run, this, that and the other. Now we've shortened this diff, what was it, around about 45mm overall, so 22.5 millimeters each side, which is roughly what we've ran. Now these tyres here are my old slicks off of my old race car. Now these are actually advertised as 28 9 by 15 drag tyre. Now when you actually look at these tyres, if my lovely assistant could hand me the tape measure, do you want to hold the tyre for me, babe? When you actually look at these, yeah, okay, the actual tread itself is 9 inches. I'm hoping this camera is just picking this up okay for you guys and girls. So basically speaking, as you can see, the tread is literally 9 inches, but the overall, hang on a second, the overall excuse me, width of the sidewall is, take my word for it, is basically almost 11.5 inches, or just over 11 inches. So what they advertise with the slicks and what they actually are is two entirely different things. So once again, I just thought I'd go through that and show you guys that one. So we'll get some rims on the car now and get it on the ground, and I'll get back to you and show you how it looks. Okay, something that I didn't add was actually in when I was talking tyre size was actually the offset as well, which is another common question you guys ask me as well, which is tyre size and offset. Now these are an 8-inch weld wheel, as you can see, drag light. They advertise also, once again, it's an advertised size, so basically speaking they are 8 inches wide by 15, and they have, this is a question you guys are always asking, they have a 3-inch backspace on them. So yeah, I just thought I'd clarify that one for you guys and girls. Once again, that's another question that I'm quite often asked, and thanks again to my beautiful assistant. Thank you, Shenny. Alrighty, excuse me, got it back on the ground. I have to say I'm pretty happy with the results. Really happy with how it all sits. It's got enough clearance there. As you can see, I have not rolled these guards. I just don't like the look of rolled guards, even though my E55's got rolled guards. I wish it didn't, but it has. Once again, fits really nice. Just enough clearance all round with everything. Really happy with how it's all come up. So yeah, I'll just pan around the car for you. You know, just from the rear, it just gives it that sort of mini tub effect, because the tyre's actually sitting in and not right out on the guard as such. So yeah, once again, pretty stoked at the moment to have it back on the ground. I just had a look at some pictures of this on my computer when I had it when I was measuring up for the diff, and it was actually pretty much almost to the day 12 months ago that I started measuring all this up. So yeah, once again, really happy to have this back on the ground and sitting sweet. Could probably even go a little bit lower, but once I get fuel tank in there with some fuel and this, that and the other, I think I'm going to be pretty happy with how it's all sitting. Once again, they're not the rims that I'm running on the front. My other weld wheels are in my other workshop at the moment. They're just some roller dummies that I've got, because one's cracked and one's actually a fake Kragar, long story short. So yeah, really happy with how it all sits. I'll just sort of see if you can see that guard. Looks really close, but trust me guys, it all clears. Really happy. So yeah, alrighty. So enough of that. What I'll do is I'll get the car outside next, and I'll give it a good clean over, because I'm going to put it into my other workshop and then move my gold car into here and do the same thing, jank the rear end and build a diff for it. Yeah, once again, I'll get this one out in the sunlight next, and we'll recap, and I'll show you a quick walk around of the car then. Okay, so I've got the Charger outside. Had have to thank my beautiful wife once again for all her help. She put a whole day aside and given me a hand once again today, so yeah, thanks again, Shan. So yeah, pretty happy with how it's all turned out. I'll try not to waffle on too much as I did in the last little bit of this clip. So yeah, really happy with how it's all turned out. Try and just pan down a little bit and around the car. So, no, really happy with how it's all come up. Some people have been asking me, you know, what engine combination and so forth I'm running in this car. It's got a, and this was in my old black car, a fully built Jason Maros race engine in it that we built many moons ago. It's running a full manual reverse pattern 904 in it as well. Yeah, Jason did a really good job on this many moons ago. Thank him once again. So yeah, that's what we're running in there, and of course we've got the 31 spline Borg Warner rear end. This engine in my other black car with this transmission, no, not with this transmission. The transmission's in my red Turbo Centura, but with a pretty much the same transmission as this one. It's got the same converter. We ran 12.1 at 110 mile an hour with a heavy 9-inch in it, so now that we're running the Borg Warner, I'm really hoping maybe to dip into the 11s. If not, it's going to go on a diet, and perhaps one day this will come out, and I think I'll be putting my twin turbo 360 in here. So that's on the cards at the moment. So yeah, this engine probably won't stay in here forever. But yeah, once again, really happy with how it's all turned out. So yeah, once again, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Hope I haven't rabbited on too much with this build or with this putting the diff in and that sort of stuff, but I just thought that, you know, there was some few key points that people are always asking me and that sort of stuff. So yeah, hence the reason that I went into it in the sort of detail that I did. So yeah, we'll get this one all pushed away into the other shop where my hoist is, so I can get it up in the air, get my exhaust here cleaned up and so forth, and yeah, get it back in the car and hopefully get this off and get it to the auto electrician and get him to get started on it at least, get some sort of wires into it. And then I need a shifter, an ignition, and this, that and the other. So yeah, still a fair bit of money to pour into it, but yeah, quite happy to do it anyway. Alright, thanks again for joining us, and stay tuned. Mid Coast Diff Shop.